Hello, hello everyone, and welcome into our HAWP Community of Practice session 3, where we're going to be talking a lot about fatigue and sleep. We're so grateful that you all came to join us. So if you want to take a minute and introduce yourself in the chat box, just your name and what organization you're coming from. We're excited to have you, and we're excited to get into this today. So thank you for joining. And just a little bit about what we're going to do today. So first, we are going to hear from Eileen about HAWP and some updates and the purpose of this community of practice that we have started, plans for our next, the second Resilience to Thrive training. And we will hear about some of those who were trained in the first training. And then we are going to go into a big discussion about fatigue and sleep and hear from you all. So Eileen, you want to go ahead and give us an update for HAWP?
Of course, thank you, Irene. Hi, everybody. My name is Eileen Sanchez. I'm with the Arizona Department of Health Services, and I am also the HAWP coordinator for Healthy Arizona Worksites program. I hope by now you have at least heard of my name, if not seen me at some of the webinars you have attended. So I am very happy that you're all here today. So just a little reminder, a little refresher on HAWP. Or the Healthy Arizona Worksites program. It's a statewide program for all types and sizes of workplaces within Arizona, all 15 counties. We help you build or enhance your wellness program. So, if you currently have a wellness program, we certainly want to recognize you. And we give you recognition by providing you an award for your specific level at the end of the fiscal year at our awards event. Which as of now is an in-person event. Participants, they also receive trainings, access to webinars such as this, and of course the award every year. We've had over 300 different workplaces participate throughout the state. And we do encourage, more to keep applying. If you know of other work sites that have a work site wellness program, or if they don't, that you nudge them over and show them our website so that they can apply and receive guidance to either implement a worksite wellness program or again to receive recognition. And of course, with this webinar series, we're excited to provide this initial five session series to engage you in our new community of practice. So thank you all for being part of this, new and exciting project. And we hope to hear your thoughts about it as it comes to an end. But as of now, we still have a few left, and we're happy for your participation. Next slide. Now just some HAWP updates about upcoming trainings and events that we have. So we actually have an upcoming HAWP 101 virtual training, which will be on December 12th and 13th. They are for an hour and a half each day. I believe it is from 2 to 3:30. I actually should have double checked. I don't want to confuse it with another one, but it is on December 12th and 13th. So if you have not yet attended a HAWP 101, if there's somebody at your work site that wants to be involved in HAWP but hasn't attended, or if you know somebody else, that should be attending, please give them the information. We're still registering people. Once you all complete the HAWP 101 training, then those work sites can continue on with completing the CDC scorecard and then the application, both of which are open already. Thank you, Dr. Bennett, for posting the website in the chat. You can find all this information there. We don't have an official deadline for this year's HAWP application yet, but we are going to announce it and save the date for the awards event, hopefully in January of 2024. So you all have advance notice. But the deadline will be sometime in early May. So you still have some time, but also you have time to work on it. Reach out if you have any questions, if you need any help. So I do look forward to see all of you in the applications and scorecards.
Great. Thank you, Eileen. For those who are joining, go ahead and please put in the chat box where you're from, any workplace that you are affiliated with, just so we know who you are. We'll be doing a breakout group in a little bit here, and a lot of the community of practice, as you see here, is about interacting as a community. So the purpose is to provide a forum for ongoing learning, an opportunity for you to voice your concerns, issues, and needs to see what HAWP can do to help with that, an opportunity to connect and learn from each other. We've already know that there are a few people who are looking for mentors. We've had 2 people fill out a survey that you'll have an opportunity to complete yourself. If anyone here feels they have experience in workplace wellness and would like to do some brief mentoring, just set up a quick conversation. Please let Irene know. You can let us know in the chat box now. The goal here is to share best practice, empower you individually. Many people working in this field are doing it by themselves. They may not have a lot of support. So we really want to give you everything you need to have more influence and effectiveness in your jobs, and also do that as a group. We never know what's going to happen. You might have ideas that you want us to explore. Please let us know, because this is for you. And we're hoping to create even newer opportunities, events, and collaborations through the ongoing networking that can happen here. We do have our next Resilience and Thriving Facilitator training happening on February 21st in Phoenix. This is the link. We'll probably get this link into the chat box. The deadline for applying, there are limited seats to be trained as a facilitator of this evidence-based curriculum. It's an opportunity to add another tool. It addresses mental health concerns. It can expand the reach of HAWP beyond just the assessments. This has been used by dozens of workplaces. It's easy to implement as a 90-minute lunch and learn. We know that it improves employee assistance utilization. It can be integrated with both wellness and EAP, and it's part of a mental health strategy. So if you're interested in this, please go ahead and complete that registration, and I think Irene will put that link in the chat box. Here it is again. So when you go to the HAWP website, you'll be able to see register now, and the training is from 8:30 to 5 on February 21st. Speaking of which, I want to introduce Diana, who just recently got certified. So when you take the training, you do have to go ahead and deliver it in order to get certified. Diana, this is your slide. Do you want to share your comment here and what your experience was delivering this program?
I'd be happy to share, and it was an exciting experience. I'm very honored to be part of a group of people that believe in improving people's well-being just by their thoughts and how we support each other in our mental health. And so I did deliver it a couple of times, and it was well received, and we had great numbers. I highly recommend going through it. It's a very nice adjunct to the way that we're trying to manage stress and well-being in our work sites.
And I believe you had 18 people, is that right? Go through it? Is that something like that?
It was 19, and
19.
and several of them were in the Philippines. It was a firm that is a hybrid firm. So there were some on Zoom from the Philippines, and then there were some people in the room with us. So
beautiful. Yeah. So for those of you who might be delivering this or considering, you can deliver this in person, you can deliver it virtually, and in Diana's case, which is a special skill set, is to deliver it as a hybrid. But you can see some of the results here, which are consistent with what we've seen before. Again, the HAWP community of practice has a lot to do with mental health. And as you can see, the outcomes here are very much related to mental health, improving awareness of stress, healthy lifestyle to address stress, and confidence that stress won't affect work. And these are actually from the training that Diana gave.
For me, Dr. Bennett, it's still on the HAWP update slide. You guys all see the slide with Diana? I just want to make sure.
Oh, maybe there was my mistake. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So these were the other slides that I had shown that didn't get advanced, that give you the links to the Resilience and Thriving training, and also to the information about Diana's effectiveness. And now we're going to go into the discussion. As with a community of practice, we do provide some prompts for you. We do a poll. You'll do a breakout 10-minute discussion, and then we'll debrief. And you'll be assigned to these breakouts. Again, with the CDC scorecard that is used for the HAWP awards, one of the subscales is on fatigue, sleep and fatigue. And you can see that there are 6 areas. As you may remember, this is the area that HAWP awardees scored the lowest in. We know that there are significant challenges to sleep and fatigue in the country, but also in Arizona. And we know that this past year, because of heat index in Arizona, there were more deaths than ever before. And we know that sleeplessness and sleep symptoms are a significant precursor to major health problems. So the scorecard identifies 6 areas: having a policy, conducting screening, providing educational materials, offering interactive educational programming, training managers, and also solutions to discourage distracted or drowsy driving. And distracted driving also means driving while texting. So that's also included here and has, as you know, become a significant concern. When you look at the results from the 90 awardees, you can see here the percent that indicated yes, they have these. And I'll go into this in more depth here in a moment. But as is often the case, providing educational materials, 85% is the most likely, but having a written policy is the least likely. Here's that same data shown in a graph chart. And now I'm going to show it to you in sequence. So this is ordered from least to most likely. The blue bar, yes, they have it. So have and promote a written policy related to the design of work schedules. Less than half have that. Provide training to managers, almost just half. And then it goes up from there. This is an interesting chart because it does suggest that there are certain things that people are more likely to do. And when we get into the discussion, we'll want to hear from you why you think that's the case. Why are some of these things easier, or are they even important to your particular work situation? So these are the ones that are more likely to have. Sleep screening tool, provide interactive education, and educational materials to address healthy sleep, basically. And these are the least likely to have. So I'd like to ask in a chat box to get the discussion going, why? Why are these less likely than the other ones? What is it about having a policy, providing manager training, specifically, that's less likely to be offered? And if you have any thoughts about that, you can cogitate and put that in the chat box, because we'll be getting into that. As we move ahead, though, we want to do some topic prompts, and Diana, coincidentally, is going to share some information about these ideas. So the first poll we want to do is, which of these do you currently have? So Irene will launch the poll, and we'll see how you fare in terms of these. Which of these do you currently have? Do you offer the screening? Do you offer programs and education? And we'll see what you guys say. So again, providing access to a self-administered sleep screening tool is screening. Providing and promoting interactive educational programming that addresses sleep habits and treatment of common sleep disorders is programs. And then education is educational materials, which, as you saw, were the most common. So take a minute. If you don't have these at all, you don't have to respond, which we may have included that as a not, I don't have any. And if you feel free to put in the chat box why you made the responses that you did, including if you didn't put any, why did you make your response? So let's end the poll. See what we got. Pretty consistent with what we saw, Irene, in the data, right? Education is 73%, 64% and 45%. So consistent exactly with what we saw in the data from 90 participants. So I'm going to turn it over to Diana, who's going to talk about one aspect within the educational segment of programs. Diana?
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm honored to be a part of this supportive environment and really a great place for us to align all of our passions. So as Joel mentioned, I am going to talk about one little area, and that is just the way that our sleep and fatigue is affected by what we eat. They both play a very fundamental role in our well-being, and now it's a global public health concern, and it's increased our demand for sleep hygiene strategies. Our sleep dysfunction or disrupted sleep leads to significant mortality, morbidity, medical conditions. In fact, it's taken a toll on almost every key indicator for public health. And it's a very complex and important relationship and often overlooked. Just curious, we want to know why sleep is so important. Well, it does set the stage for our day. And our brains and our bodies need it to function properly and to recover and to make our hormones balanced correctly. So the next slide is just a quick overview of what is quality sleep. And according to the National Sleep Foundation, there are 4 ways that we measure quality sleep. So I'm going to go with the positive, the good quality. If your onset of sleep when you go into bed is less than 30 minutes, good quality sleep. If you wake 1 or less times per night, that's considered good quality. The wakefulness, if you do wake in the night, but you fall back to sleep before 20 minutes or less, that's good quality. And the efficiency percentage is how much of the time you're in your bed that you're actually sleeping. So those are just some of the quick measures for quality sleep. So moving on, now that we have an understanding about the quality sleep, I love this statement: sleep impacts our eating patterns, and our eating patterns impact our sleep. Again, it's a complex and important relationship. So poor sleep affects our nutrition. We know that poor quality sleep has been linked to risks of obesity, including a higher waist circumference, and that lends itself to cardiovascular disease. Sleep deprivation also affects our hormonal pathways. So we can disrupt things like ghrelin, which is a hormone that increases our appetite, and that hormone is increased when we're sleep deprived. Leptin helps us feel satiated, full, and leptin is reduced when we have a disrupted sleep or poor quality sleep. And then cortisol levels. Our cortisol levels are quite high after a sleep deprivation night of sleep. And we know that high cortisol leads to inflammation. And these things really lend itself to poor nutritional choices. And they also affect things like our memory, depression risk, lower immunity, lower libido, even collagen breakdown, so more wrinkles. So the next part about that, quickly go back, I'm sorry, Irene, is our diet affecting our sleep. So unhealthy diets obviously contribute to weight gain, and that can also worsen or cause a sleep disorder, such as sleep apnea, and that we know is linked to things like cardiovascular disease. So our nutrition really influences the quality of our sleep. And there are certain foods and certain beverages that make it easier or harder to get a quality sleep. So there's this link between nutrition, obesity. We know there's a link between nutrition and diabetes and other risks of disease, but those are very well known. But many are very unaware of how our diet affects our sleep. So really, a study that they did of 2020 participants ages 18 to 65, they discovered that late large meals, evening caffeine consumption, smoking, drinking alcohol, and spicy foods are all associated with shorter sleep duration and a longer sleep onset and more frequent wakeful moments. So the next slide is a little bit about nutrition. And overall, there are 3 big elements to human nutrition. We need macronutrients, we need vitamins and minerals. So we really want to know, how does overall nutrition affect our brain and then our sleep? Well, the best diet. There really isn't one single diet plan that is best. Instead, it's really recommended that we use foods that ensure that we get adequate nutrition without over-consuming unhealthy foods. So this slide portrays quite a few of the things that we know link us to a healthier diet, which helps us with our sleep. Look at all of the color. So, rich in antioxidants, high fruits and vegetables. These kinds of diets that offer this nutrition balance are the best for our sleep. So we know that DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet are made up of a variety of fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, grains, vitamins, minerals, all the macronutrients that were listed on the slide before, and they all promote a very healthy body weight. So in that discussion, there is quite a few reasons why those kinds of foods assure us to get a good night's sleep. These foods are rich in antioxidants and serotonin, melatonin, and all of the foods that are in these diets also help regulate those hormones. So it helps us get a much better night's sleep. We're talking a lot about how the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet include those foods. So really the call to action is just find ways to incorporate these kinds of foods into your daily meals. Finally, and the last period here is just a nice triangle showing that sleep, diet, exercise, all three have a profound effect on our daily well-being and our longevity. And now that you know there's a very strong connection between sleep and nutrition, this can create lots of opportunities to optimize both in order to get healthier foods, to get better sleep, and to live healthier. Understanding that your diet affects your sleep and how lack of sleep affects your diet, I think it's important to do the following. 1, determine the quality of your sleep by those 4 measures. 2, identify your risks. Do you drink too much alcohol during the day? Are you eating large late meals? Those kinds of things. Are you intentionally making steps to incorporate meals that are rich in antioxidants like fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, grains? And then the other part to remember is our brain is involved in everything we do. And if we remember that our brain is involved in how we feel, how we think, how we act, almost every decision we make, when the brain is right, we work right. So for a better mind and a better body, the first place to start is having a better brain, and that's getting quality sleep. So engaging in these brain healthy activities like good nutrition, quality sleep, exercising, and learning, which is what we're doing today, we're making it a priority. And thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So that was really a great example of information, right? Remember, of the 6 different areas within the CDC scorecard, that is actually fantastic as an example of one of the 6. And other pieces we have here, we have a sleep and fatigue resource guide that includes in that you should be able to get in the chat box. And also remember, there's screening that happens for the National Sleep Foundation. And also we have this list, and you'll get a copy of these slides. So be aware that the other thing that I also recommend, if you have the ability, is a book club. There's this great book by Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep. And there's this great book by Dan Pink called When. And you never know, people come at this information in different ways, diet, exercise, but also there's a lot of information out there. So we now know, let's show the screen again of what you currently have. And then we're going to ask you, we're going to show you the results of the poll that you just completed earlier. I believe you could do that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, what do you plan to do? What do you plan to do? So let's launch that poll. What do you plan to have in 2024? Let's see if we have different numbers this time. Give people a chance to respond. And this is where HAWP comes in. If you have a plan, if something you learned about today and you want to get more information and you need these tools, please contact us. Please contact Irene. If you're willing to be a mentor to somebody and you've been doing this work, please let us know so we can give you the opportunity to share with others. So let's actually see Similar levels, a little bit higher on the screening, which is great. And we'll just see what happens as the year comes ahead. But now, let's do our breakouts. So the purpose of this is to discuss, what are you doing in this area? What do you want to do? What do you need? Can you see yourself doing more? And how can HAWP help? So Irene I'm going to turn it over to her, and she's going to start the breakouts. You'll have about 10 minutes. I'm happy to share what happened in our group. We had an incredible discussion. And I was in a room with Deb, Chase, Penny, and King. And everybody seemed to like this idea of coordinating a screening day, and to do that next year, and to possibly work with HAWP to do that. Another aspect that came up was COVID and the impact that COVID has had on sleep, and the importance of screening, not just to know whether you're healthy, but to know whether or not you have a specific disorder. And if in that case, to make sure you're getting the right type of diagnosis, and in some cases, pharmaceutical support. That also came up. The other item, and I'll stop, is the workplace does play a role in terms of educating about work-life balance, and that sometimes the work environment and the scheduling, especially if you're in an organization where there's shift schedule work, that's a very significant role to play. So I'll stop. That's a summary from my group. Any other summaries?
I'll share a few points that were brought up on our discussion. It was really exciting to hear what some of you guys are doing. So I feel Sandy Barrett shared that they do a sleep challenge every March, and they do it from school to school. So they build a lot of competition there. And in addition to doing the challenge, they give incentives by participation, and they include awareness tips and educational information about sleep while they're doing the challenge. So it's informative, and it's also participatory. And then Lyle shared that he does a student and employee wellness program that he's going to start doing in 2024, talking about self-care, including sleep and fatigue in the classroom. So those students get the information right there. And Lyle or Sandy, if you want to share more, but those are great ideas.
Yeah, we're just shifting our focus a little bit. In addition to having access to a whole first-year experience slew of classes to get the information out, we're shifting it from trying to talk about the avoidance of fatigue and rather talk about how well do you want to live? Do you want to be vibrant and vigorous and full of energy for your day? Instead of talking about just sleep better so you're not tired, sleep better so you're really energized, taking a positive approach. Kind of the difference between looking for a 1/4-inch drill bit versus producing a 1/4-inch hole. The drill bit's the sleep. The hole is what we want to produce. It's not my quote. I stole it.
All right, we're going to move along. We have more to cover, but this is great, and we're going to be sending the slide deck to people who had asked for that. So, in going on to the next part of this, there are a few things I just want to highlight. I did hear some urgency, and one of the tools that you might look at is the VA has this CBTI Coach. It's an app that you can download on Apple and Android. That's for free. That is something that you can use without any payment, and you can distribute to employees as well. You might look into that. And so that is something that might also be of importance. So now we're going to look at the last 3 items and see what we can do to get another conversation in. The second practice set, which has to do with the more challenging things to implement. Again, we did hear, I think, from Lyle that one of the reasons that this is less likely to have is that the organization doesn't necessarily need it. But there may be some of you out there who could use more manager training and policy. So I'm going to quickly review some of these. We've been doing work of these. So let's again ask the poll, which do you currently have? Let's do a quick poll launch here and see how it goes. Policy, do you have a promote a written policy? And if you don't answer, we'll assume that you don't have any. Provide manager training or any solutions. So we'll leave this open for a few minutes, but I suspect we're going to get a lower response here. By the way, going back to work-life balance and shift schedules, especially in safety-sensitive environments as well, policy is very important. And for those of you who are considering policy, I'll make a reference here, but let Irene know or me know if you need more information on policies related to sleep and fatigue. So as you can see, much lower numbers on these. So without further ado, let's just go into some of the things that are there. I had done some work with the manufacturing firm Owens Corning, and they were working on a standard policy. And you can see here, I mean, they're a very intense manufacturing environment with rotating shifts. That one of the elements is, and I believe one of the most important elements is supervisor training. That supervisors need to be trained to assess alertness using huddles, monitor performance, understand the symptoms of fatigue, making sure that there's any incident response. And that occurs not, of course, only in manufacturing, but also in healthcare. I think in Lyle, in your situation, the question is, do teachers need to assess the alertness of their students? That is a thorny wicket.
Are you kidding me? They need to self-assess their own alertness.
There you go. What we've done, there's also a manager's training that one of the key things that we found, and I won't go into detail here, is what do you do to tolerate or respond as a supervisor when you see a situation, or as a parent or as a coworker, if you see somebody drowsy a lot? Do you have a role to play? So that's not just manager training, it could also be peer training as well. And so building a whole policy and dashboard that involves both safety and a fatigue risk management system, FRMS. There's so much out there. If you Google or Google Scholar, there's a lot to learn about fatigue risk management system. But again, drowsy driving, there are more accidents that we've not only seen an increase in text while driving, but we've seen a very significant increase in accidents since COVID. And a number of people are saying it has to do with this. So sleep has become a serious health and wellness issue. And this is from the AAA Foundation on drowsy driving countermeasures that include fatigue detection technologies and policies and so forth. So I think, because we only have a few minutes here, I want to make sure we have some time. Let's just go into breakouts again and have people talk about what can you do in this area? Which of these three do you see yourself potentially using, if at all, and how can HAWP help you? So, Irene, let's just do a 5-minute breakout and we'll come back and have time to share. Sorry, Chase, we got you cut off.
Yeah,
That's all good.
Did you want to finish your thought, Chase, or?
I was pretty much just repeating what Ali had said and mentioned.
Okay, who would like to summarize from any group while we have a few minutes left?
King also got cut off, and I think you were making a really great point. If you want to go ahead and say it now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I was just saying that the policies on sleep needs to be a bigger issue. rather than all of us focusing on so much on equal employment opportunity, dress code, attendance, all that good stuff. But we have not really adopted a lot of policies. And my experience in working day shift and night shift for retail business in big companies and hospitals, I have seen a big downfall on employee performance and efficiency, productivity because of this lack of policy of sleep. And as a result, they are not as effective. Patients suffer, customers suffer. So I think there's a big deal on this topic we're addressing right now, sleep issues. Policies is going to help. And if you look at it, it's the least on the three things you guys just mentioned, because we don't really pay attention to this stuff. And it's the bigger issue that we must address in terms of production, efficiency, and work balance on people's health. So I just wanted to complete that thought when we were talking about it.
Anyone else? Thank you, King. That's wonderful. Any other
An idea
summaries?
that came to mind is, we do annual education that's mandatory for all of our staff, and they have to sit and do their modules. Having a sleep and fatigue module just to help support the education of the team.
And make it a policy that you go through it, and you could even, in some cases, you have to pass a certain score, like, CPR training, or you have to demonstrate that knowledge, right? So yeah. Sandy, did you have something you wanted to share? I saw your.
Oh, I was going to say I like that idea.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, anyone else before we close today? We do have one more poll that Irene's going to launch, and I'll talk while she's launching that. As a community of practice, we're hoping that these sessions are not just one and done, one off, and that it really is the desire of HAWP to support all of you. Oh yeah, and there's one more poll after this, number 5. So this is good. We're doing this one too. What do you plan to do? And then we have one more. So I think please let us know in the chat box if you would like to either mentor, receive mentoring, or if you're interested in this idea of collaborating on offering a screening day, right? A collaboration through HAWP in March, because we want to make this something that's sustainable. And Eileen's from the Department of Health. We know that the state of Arizona is very, very high risk when it comes to sleep problems. And so there's a reason we started off with this topic, right? And I think you guys could make a big difference by joining together. So I'll stop there, and then we'll do the final poll. How much could you use what you learned today? And then I'll turn it back over to Irene as we complete that poll. And so we have more people wanting to receive mentoring. We need more people who want to mentor. We could always put a group together too. So
I would be happy to mentor if the opportunity is there.
Yay! Can we give him a round of applause, everyone? Okay. Irene, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, well, thank you all for joining us again. The purpose of these community practices is just to connect more, bounce ideas off of each other, which I think we have done today. So thank you all for joining and participating in that. The next community practice webinar that we have is on January 23rd. And I am popping the registration link in the chat now. If you want to sign up, that one is going to be focused on resilience and stress. And then again, we also have one more cohort for the Resilience to Thriving training that Dr. Bennett will be doing in February. And I will put that one in the chat as well. Otherwise, Eileen, do you have a survey that you wanted to put in the chat? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Irene. Yeah, so this survey is about I just put it in the chat. So it's just to evaluate your thoughts about the community practice webinar series. If you've attended one in the past, you can check those off there. You can fill it after this one. And if you attend any in the future, you can fill out a separate one for that. We are very happy that there has been a lot of participation in this community practice series. And, you know, it is a special project. It is something new and different that we're trying with the Healthy Arizona Worksite program. So we are going to absolutely use this in the future to see if it's something that will continue. So we really do appreciate you taking an extra few minutes to fill those out. Yeah, we look forward, you know, to your continued participation. And we'll be sending it out via email as well. We have recordings on the website. If you missed any of the previous webinars, this recording will go up as well in case you know somebody that missed it and wanted to attend it. And we'll be including the link there too, so that everybody that views it can hopefully fill out the evaluation link and help us help you. So thank you. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Dr. Bennett.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Have a happy and healthy rest of your day and a happy holidays.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.